and it will be up in the on the website and in the archive. I think it is important for everyone to again be respectful, understand that this is a business forum. We should also talk about some of the other topics this month. We're going to go really lean right into 2025, the plans that we're going to be making for it, how this evolving technology is going to affect your business. I've done a lot of stuff in AI. We stepped away from that a little bit, but no, we are back and really focused on that. Joining me now, we've got Daniel. You want to wave hi to everyone so they could recognize you. Daniel is in the Philippines. He's worked very hard for me for the last 5 years. That makes him a saint. I'm not the easiest guy in the world, and he's a great guy. Also in the meeting is Eitan. Eitan, can you wave and just be recognized? Eitan is my business partner, normally in Portugal, but now he's here visiting me, doing some advanced business planning and trying to find the best way to be able to bring goodness to all of you. So with that said, we are recording now. Let me make sure. Good. And we will have transcriptions and all of this. So going forward, let me just bring up topic by topic of what's going on. Does, Terry, could I pick on you a little bit? If you could figure out how to unmute.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. So, going forward, again, I know it's no secret you're probably not so pleased with the outcome, but what do you think is going to actually go on with real estate in general and business over the next, over the foreseeable future? I'd love to, you're always an insightful guy.
Well, every election cycle, there's a, and we've mentioned this in prior meetings, there's a collective breath holding that goes on the month, 6 weeks, what have you, before
100 days.
election. So no matter your political leanings, that is going to abate, and business that was not going to be conducted will. I mean, this fall season has been practically non-existent. So I feel like for the near future, we're going to kick it into overdrive, and that might even last us through the holidays.
Sure.
This, in a larger sense, the next year or two, I feel like this is business practices that will be put into place by the new president will actually help our business.
Okay.
Things will open up. My other half was saying this morning, it would be great if we could repeal that law that just came out of Kansas City about the disclosures and not disclosing what commissions are, blah, 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 which has just added another layer of to our professional lives.
Sure.
That's a small thing, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But overall, I think it's going to be good for our business.
Okay, good. But very, very interesting answer. Not the least a bit surprised. You don't need to necessarily love the character to be able to talk about that. Again, I always value Terry's balanced approach to life and business. If you don't know him, you definitely need to get to know Terry. If you're in Brooklyn, he will take you for lunch or coffee or something or pie. I don't know what, everyone loves pie.
Junior's cheesecake.
Junior's cheesecake. Okay, there we go. Junior's cheesecake. So, let me go this. Terry, you brought me up to like the next topic, but I think it's worth mentioning right now. A Trump Department of Justice. We've got a lot of things to actually unpack here with regard to commissions. I'm kind of surprised this didn't come up in too many meetings. Anybody want to have a go at what is likely happening? We've not yet gone through all of the changes that were planned. We know the rules. We know that we have to disclose. We know that buyers need to get a buyer-broker agreement. But now, as far as the Department of Justice is concerned, there's going to be a real driver here. I'm just curious to see if any of you, Levette, feel free to chime in. Hideka, chime in. Laura, Marquette, if you want to jump in, please. What do you think is likely going to happen with the Department of Justice, or Dina as well? I think Dina's here too. Always a tough crowd.
I am.
Okay.
I am
Oh,
here.
there you are, Dina. Okay, I just didn't see you.
I have to say, I don't know what's going to happen with the Department of Justice because I don't know if they're going to repeal what's already done. It's kind of the whole thing has been set in motion to such a large degree that I don't know that they would undo that, start unraveling everything that's I mean, it was a lawsuit brought by the Department of Justice, correct? I'm not even,
It was
you
a
know,
law. It was a civil lawsuit brought by lawyers to that. What's what brought about the $418 million settlement between NAR and all these other little settlements that came out. So the Department of Justice, who my understanding is wants to take it a step further, that the whole notion of the seller paying buyer broker commissions to some in the Department of Justice, it didn't go far enough that the seller should not pay buyer broker commissions. At least that's my understanding of it. Guys, feel free to disagree with me. I'm man enough to be wrong. So if anybody wants to jump in with that, but my interest is, how this may change.
I mean, but me personally, I would hope they would nip that in the bud because that really sort of negates the entire idea of everything's negotiable. If you no longer allow the seller to pay the buyer's broker's commission, doesn't that take away freedom of choosing to pay what you want to pay for?
And the people who disagree with you would just say that it is a regulated industry and the rules get set, just like we can't arbitrarily pay certain commissions in, say, stocks or bonds. So it's going to be, I think, I want to expand upon all of this. It's more than just saying you love Trump or you hate Trump or you love Harris, or you hate Harris, whatever it is. What is going to happen to you? And I'm not surprised that there's usually a lot of silence by that because other than the rhetoric, a lot of people get caught up in this. Throw a cow at anybody. I don't give a shit. Hate the guy. But this is the 4 years that we have to deal with. And the mature business person has to take a look at what's on the table right now and say, how are you going to get through? Much the way Terry had just done. I see somebody named Shelly who's in here. Love to have you. Lakeisha is in here. Guys, I need to get the group chatting. It would be great to have you actually participate.
Ed, isn't Trump a real estate guy? And for me, I see that is going to be good for the industry in every possible way.
Okay. And legitimate, he's a real estate investor. He's not necessarily realtor. What are
But
your
I
thoughts on
think he
that?
understands the industry really good and any impact it might have on it. And I believe he wants realtors to succeed.
Okay. What if you took the argument that he's in now, he can't get reelected. Everyone needs to realize that. This is his second term, right?
Yeah.
Anyone? Okay. So again, feel free to disagree with me. So he's in here for definitely 4 years.
So he can't be another term. It's locked to 2 terms, even if they're not consecutive.
I mean, as everything that we've always been taught, it's 2 years. Terry, you want to chime in on this? Terry's always reading about this type of thing.
Yes, it's a total of 2 terms. Now, when Roosevelt was president during the Great Depression, he was able to craft an exception because he was guiding us through the Great Depression, and he was actually in office for 4 terms.
He was in for 3 terms. Was he 4 terms or 3?
Well, he died shortly into his 4th term.
Interesting. But I think that they made the term limits after that point.
Exactly.
Okay. So it wasn't anything was crafted. They just said, wait a minute, this is
you're right. You're right.
Parties. Yeah.
Yeah. It should only be 2 terms. And whether it's be consecutive or whatever, there's a total of 2. If he keeps that in place, we'll see.
Yeah. Well, one could also say that he could sit on his ass and watch Fox News and not do anything. So
one could also say that isn't that what he's always done?
Okay, I opened up that door. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be the good moderator here. But as far Livette, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Thoughts? How's your business going to be affected?
Well,
tough one.
I mean, I'm hoping it's gonna get better. I was hoping, regardless, whoever won. Yeah, I will just say that I'm the type of person that if I have to suffer a little bit with my business, but as long as humanity gets better,
Okay,
I'm more of that type of person. You know what
sure.
I'm saying? Like I'm not, I believe in capitalism and all that stuff, making money, but at the cost of, you know, society or humanity's expense. No.
Sure.
So
Look,
that's just where I stand with it.
the way the system is designed is that you could pick chocolate or vanilla,
Mm,
or black or white, or you could have an oatmeal cookie or a chocolate chip cookie. You can't suddenly ask for pistachio. So I get it.
mhm,
There's a lot of people, and anyone who's just gone full in on either side, I think, is not necessarily really understanding all. So there's stuff that is pros and cons to everyone. Now you could see something as more as pros or cons. Once again, nothing that we could do about it here. But it would
mhm.
be interesting to see if there's any business strategy that you might take on, knowing now. And again, the answer may be that this is just too soon to tell, and I picked the wrong topic for today.
Well, and
Again,
I will say that, but my plan is to, like always, to just adjust quickly, keep it moving. What can you do about it?
yeah,
Nothing. And it is what it is.
sure. The other thing I want to point out is, don't make the mistake of taking sides, especially when you know there's a client, there's somebody in the community. I had two people in the community. For those of you who don't know me, I live in a gated country club community. Two people. One of them said, if that damn Trump wins, I'm going to list my home with you. Hmm. Had someone else an hour later say, if that Harris wins, they all used other expletives. I'm going to list my home with you. So I got to call the person who said that, see if it was actually true or if it was more rhetoric. But here's the thing, regardless of what I believe in, I think we could all agree that we want the business. Isn't that correct?
Absolutely.
Maybe? Okay. Thank you.
Well, and also one has to wonder, it takes time for policy changes to actually be made, to be enacted, and then make an impact. So, the only thing that'll change today is that we now know who the new president is. Whatever impact that will have remains to be seen.
Mhm.
Yeah, I hope for business that things loosen up, because we could all use the business. But it just takes a little while. So it remains to be seen exactly what's going to happen.
And at the same time, the reason I put this topic on in the first place is because so many of you told me, from my graphic designer and mailing guy to the brokers that are in here, the realtors that are in here, that a lot of people have said to them they don't want to make a decision until after the election. Today is after the election. So what does this mean? For those of you who said that to me privately, and there were plenty of you, I mean, I try to bring you the topics that you want to hear about. And again, I'm going to demand respect out of every person that's in this meeting, giving it to one another. This is not a form. I mean, again, I get it. It's highly emotional. You could let the animal out of the cage to only some extent. You get it? Look, there's Dina. Dina.
I
And
think,
Dina,
oh, I'm
Dina,
sorry.
look at that hair. She had her hair blown out yesterday. It's fabulous. Dina. No good. She's still
Oh,
muted.
no, I'm unmuted. I'm doing this on my phone and I always have a hard time centering myself on my phone. Sorry about that. But I couldn't agree with Terry more on what he initially said, which is that whoever you wanted to win, it's going to get people moving. That's what I think. I think a lot of people were just kind of holding their breath, and for whatever reason, and whoever you wanted to win, some now you know. Now you know, and you can move forward doing whatever you want to do. I don't even know why some people were waiting based on this, but they were, and it's just one of those humps in life that people seem to be waiting for to then move forward. So I do think it can help our business for sure.
Sure. If you guys want to see the best attitude to take, for those of you who like popular music, take a look at Will I Am. from the Black Eyed Peas. Will Idam said multiple times he never ever took sides. He never took sides. I got to tell you, I've got great respect for that artist because so many people are actually taking sides. And guys, it's if you take anything out of the meeting, it's just death. It's the worst thing in the world. You're going to lose business. You have such a strong conviction, do the deal with the guys whose opinion you hate, take the money, and then donate it to your favorite charity. Donate it to your synagogue or your church or whatever it is. In other words, our job is to remain more than solvent, is to hopefully thrive under any circumstance. I've made money, on the liberal side, and I've made money on the conservative side. I'd like you to take that from here. Who else? Come on, guys. We're kind of spinning into a conversation. Norma, you could chime in. Mary, you could chime in. I won't bite, I promise. Just don't bite me.
No, I'm not. And I am just, I mean, yesterday I preferred to just turn off the TV and go to sleep.
Okay.
I am just.
Lucky you, because I'm exhausted.
I'm sorry.
Lucky you, because I'm exhausted. I've been up all night.
No, yeah, no, I couldn't. So, but we can't close our eyes. We have to know that there are fear outside. There's a lot of fear, and based on all the threats that they have done, mainly with migrants. And there's a lot. I live in Texas, and there's a lot of migrants, legal and illegal. Legal that are fear because probably about their color, because that's not a threat. That's a statement he made that he is going to do. So that's a
Good
fact.
morning. Is Mary available?
Okay.
Speaking.
So there's a lot of fear, and I think, I don't know, Indians, Jewish, how they feel today. So I think there are gonna be changes.
Mhm.
I don't know. My first reaction to my daughter is they don't have to rule how we are gonna feel.
Mhm.
We are going to decide how we are gonna feel. So just we're gonna be alert, smart, and
Mhm.
trying to create our own environment to feel happy.
Look, it's the only person who was the first lady that said the only person who could make you feel a certain way is yourself. No one has that
Exactly.
power for you.
Exactly.
Heather Cooper, if you could unmute yourself, I'm just going to read your thing here. One of my one seller said he wants to wait until the election to reduce the price. Okay, so Trump wins. What will you do now? It's a good question. I mean, what you just nailed it. Whether somebody agrees or disagrees, so many of you said exactly that to me. So what are you going to do today, Heather? How are you going to go after that?
Yeah, I mean, he's been waiting and waiting and waiting. I've been showing him the activity, which is not much, no offers, no second showings. So it's the proof is there that you needed to reduce the price 2 weeks. Did it matter? Like I don't know. That it's kind of silly to me that he's going to wait. So I mean, he's in California. He probably wanted Kamala, but anyway, we can't do anything about it, which is the thing, like you just said. So
Sure.
no.
It's kind of universal that I got this real holding pattern for the last 6 weeks in particular
Yeah.
out of a lot of people. And it's not just real estate. Again, my graphic design, my printer, I use Mega Mailers. They do a great job. And he's a great guy. I've used him for years. And he just said every presidential election cycle, people want to wait until after the election. People do not know why. They don't know why. They just do. So if we're to gear something up, and again, I don't want anyone to call me names. I don't want anyone to get annoyed at someone for their opinion of all this. I want you to take this as a kick in the ass to say, wow, all these people said that they were going to make some changes. Go make some money. Randy Harbin, introduce yourself to everyone. You got to unmute, Randy. There we go. Well, we had you a second ago. There we go.
Yeah, there I am.
Okay, there you go. Hi.
So I'm Randy Harbin. I'm in Joplin, Missouri. And I was just going to say to Heather, it's not just California, because we've had that same problem. And we were just talking about in our business meeting yesterday that just in the last few weeks, we've seen 80 something expired. And a lot of these sellers are not wanting to talk about price reductions because they're longing for that market of 2 years ago where you could name your price. And that's not what we're in now. The market is shifting and they're not wanting to hear that. And a lot of them were using the election as a reason not to reduce the price. And so, I mean, where we were seeing houses in the 350 range in Joplin lasting 7 to 10 days 2 years ago, now they're sitting 120 days. It's just the market is shifting. And I think a lot of people use the election, to say, well, we're going to wait to see what happens there, whoever you were for. And so it's not just California or New York or whatever. I think the market is shifting. And I think, we've got to do a better job and trying to get them to price it right to start with, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
No,
I think a lot of people are, going, well, my neighbor sold his for 300,000 2 years ago. The market was different 2 years ago. And if you showing them comps and we're doing what we're supposed to do and showing what the market looks like now, the hope is we'll quit getting the pushback. And trust me, I've heard it enough that, well, we're going to wait and see how the election turns out. So
Yeah.
now we know. And is it going to be, we're going to wait until the new Senate seats in January, or we're going to wait till the new president seats in January? We're always going to have those pushbacks. So just a little take that it's not one part of the country.
Sure. It's the other thing I want everyone to take a look at when dealing with clients, what you could actually say to them. Everyone goes nuts about the presidential election, and undoubtedly it's really important. But I'll tell you this. I mean, I had this chat with Dina yesterday. It was a local vote here in South Florida, or particularly Palm Beach County, where it was about the homestead, raising the actual value of the homestead and the property. That's something that has an immediate, meaningful impact. And yet nobody actually talks about that. Politics are local. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. It goes right down to, the people who are on the board of my gated community. Those are some pretty important people. I mean, because that's something on a day-to-day basis. If they choose to build an extension onto something, or if they choose to, they've got an immediate taxation power. They have an immediate policy power on something that has an effect on me much more so than on the presidential race. I hate to break it to everybody. So I guess what I'm saying is that if you're going to be active and you're going to be taking a look at it when speaking with your clients, you might want to talk about the local side as well. Again, don't get into a debate with the client. You'll lose. It's not going to be something to do. But just keep in mind that politics or any changes that happen really should start on the local level. And it is something to think about. Okay, a few more minutes of this. Again, it's not your normal mastermind that we have. We are going to be talking about all the newest tools on AI next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we got a lot of great stuff that's actually coming up on Wednesday, 9 a.m. I really hope that you could join us for that, because there's some great tricks and tools that are making your life easier and easier. We do like to be the barometer for what's going on in that. And we're going to be talking about the marketing tools. Anyone else, before we get to wants, needs, and brags on the topic here? I'd love to be able to hear from you. And I'm grateful for all of you that came out. And I'm grateful that everyone's been respectful. We have a diversity of opinion in here. And I just want to say, whether you like the guy or not, or hate the guy or not, it's going to affect my life the same way it will affect your life, the fact that I like Brussels sprouts and you do not. It has absolutely nothing to do with the content of the people in here. And the one thing that I'm trying to do is say, I talk about politics all the time. I just don't disrespect somebody who disagrees with me. And I think that that's something that we really need to, as a society, learn a little bit more from. So who else? Samantha's in the meeting. I didn't even notice that she snuck in here today. Anyone
Morning,
else?
everyone.
And
How's
okay,
everybody
Mary, go
doing
ahead.
this
Tell
morning?
everyone who you are and where you are, Mary. So
My name is Mary Neely, and I am in Atlanta, Georgia.
Welcome to the meeting.
Hello. Well, what do we think now that the election is over?
Yeah.
And I know the feds are going to be meeting on Thursday. Do you foresee a possible rate reduction? Because that's what I'm running into with a lot of my clients. I got a lot of clients, and everybody is, questioning the interest rates. Some clients are borderline with their DTI based on property taxes and their interest rates. What's your thought on that?
Okay, I could chime in with my opinion, but I want to see if I could encourage a conversation here.
Okay.
Anybody? Okay. Interest rates are driven by, interest rates actually, just to give the quick overview, and I know all of you understand it, but for those of you who don't, that don't want to admit it, I'll make it really easy. Think of interest rates as a gas pedal. When you have an economy that has too much cash supply in it, it ultimately leads to inflation. So what is one tool that the federal government has, the Fed? They're able to actually decrease the supply by increasing the cost of it. We see that most notably with interest rates on the mortgage. If someone wants to buy money, they're going to be spending more money on that. Right now, inflation is at bay. Inflation went up for two big reasons. One, obviously, there was too much money supply out there. Too much money means that there's going to be more opportunity to be able to raise prices. That's what actually happened. But beyond that, with COVID, we had this hidden demand for stuff. You just couldn't get stuff. And what happened right after COVID was people were willing to pay a lot more for that stuff. That was a big driver in interest rates as well. So if you want my opinion about this, I think interest rates are going to be going down for the foreseeable future. I think that there's a lot of technical reasons why it should. And Mary, you gave the thumbs up, and I'm with you. I give the thumbs up. It's not necessarily a good thing. It's not necessarily a good thing going forward into the future. Let me ask you this. With AI, I just made a floor plan for a client of mine. I went in, I took my iPhone, and there's a great service called Flow Plan, Floplan. Dina tells me they're going to be doing away with it, but there's competitors. There's competitors. And I walked through with this thing, with the iPhone. I walked through the whole house, and within 24 hours, they get you back a floor plan. Right now, it's free for me because of our Realtors Association, but when it's no longer free, it's only $15. Let me back up 7 years when I had to go to Home Depot, Home Services, and hire them to make a floor plan for me. I had to sit around with the guy. He was a jackass. It took 6 hours for him to do it, and it cost me $350. Okay? Now, there's a reason I said that. When I got started in real estate 11 years ago, a very nice lady I worked with gave me the number of her favorite helicopter pilot who could get great aerial shots of homes. Guys, this was not that long ago. All of us were alive and well and working in business. So these are two major changes and two people that went out of business as a result of technology, as a result of this stuff. These are two people that lost their opportunities because of this. Now, what does that mean for real estate and realtors? Dudes, we've got a lot of problems up ahead. We got a lot of great stuff as well. And I believe you could fortify yourself, but you got to be really strategic, because what's happening now is there's all these tools that are coming at us so quickly that for those that actually learn to master this, this is going to be something that is going to be a real advantage and a real opportunity. There's going to be a lot of dead bodies in the wake of real estate and real estate sales. There, I don't sugarcoat it. You could hear it right there. But for those of you that actually embrace it, learn it, do stuff with it, you're going to be able to see that the opportunities are there. You could also take a look at other things. My daughter, I could send you the video. My daughter's now living in LA. She took a Waymo, Waymo. Waymo is a driverless car. It's owned by Alphabet, which is Google. They're now all over Los Angeles, all over Austin, Texas. She went from Brentwood. It was a 21-minute ride. It took her to her office in Beverly Hills. She works for a big, prestigious talent agent. It costs $9 less than the Uber, okay? And as a father who's got a beautiful young daughter, I love the idea, especially at night, of her getting into a car with a robot and not some man. Okay, there, I said it. So there's 100,000 rides going on a month. This is not something that's theoretical. This is something that's happening today. Now, what does that have to do with real estate? Everything, because they're going to soon be able to say, wait a minute, maybe Uber could unlock the door for people and they could go in with an iPhone and have a conversation with them. Maybe we could just be kind of irrelevant. You need to keep your fingers on the pulse of what's going on, because a lot of this stuff will come after you and after your business. And I believe that, if there's an opportunity to win, it's going to be in understanding what that tech is and making a strategy around it. It doesn't mean that we won't, it was a great saying, once upon a time, somebody made buggy whips. Well, when no one's driving buggies anymore and you don't have to whip the horse, guess what? The last person to make the buggy whip made the best damn buggy whip ever. And then they went out of business. So the question becomes, what are we going to do to fortify ourselves? That's what this meeting is really about. Not just in AI, but in just every other aspect of competition. We've got to figure out how we're going to thrive. There will be plenty of losers in the business. We're going to have a thinning of the herd. I don't want that to be you. So where else are we? Before we get to wants to, what time is it? We'll get to wants, needs, and brags. Anyone else on this topic or anyone else want to throw something in here? Okay, wants, needs, and brags. That's the time for you to talk about what you want, what you need, and what you would like to brag about. I'm going to LA again, and I spoke with a friend of mine who's there who sold the Brady Bunch house. Okay, I took pictures in front of the Brady Bunch house. I'm a big Brady Bunch fan. And I spoke to her yesterday, and she's getting me and my family actually into the house to see they made an exact replica of the Brady Bunch show. I'm so excited by that. That's what I've got to brag about today. So you see, it doesn't have to be all about business or charities that you're involved in. What's going on? Dina, talk to me. Terry, talk to me. Somebody tell me what good stuff they've got to look forward to.
I have a brag.
Okay, who's that?
Laura.
Laura. Hi, Laura.
Hi. I have my first listing ever. It's very exciting. It's a
Oh, we love that.
bedroom co-op in Brooklyn, $1 million.
Okay, that's awesome. Congratulations, and let's see how far you can take it. Again, it's these things. The best thing that you could do at this point, take that listing and try and make it multiply. The best
Yep.
realtors always do that. Circle prospect that fucker. Just go around
Yep.
and really.
I also live right across the street, so
You what?
I've already been. I live right across the street from the listing, so I've already been working the area, but I will continue to.
Yeah. That's the thing. Knock, 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 neighbor. Hey, neighbor, look, you don't know me. I just wanted to give you the heads up. You're going to see a little bit more activity in your apartment. I don't want you to worry. It's just me showing properties there and showing listings. And by the way, maybe you know of somebody that you'd like to have as your neighbor.
Yep.
Oh, thank you, Laura. Yeah, that's great. Now you got somebody. Remember the law of crap. Capture, reward, automate, plan. You've got to capture those people. This is Ed's law of crap. We go through a lot of crap. So you got to capture the person. Once you've actually spoken to them on the phone, what are you going to do? You're going to get them on your email list. You're going to get them on your social media. You're going to get them on your snail mail list. You could think of a bunch of other things. If you're Terry, you're going to buy them coffee. Okay. If you're Dina, you're going to buy them popcorn. Okay. What's going to be uniquely you and owning that? I'm so pleased to hear that. Thank you, Daniel. Daniel's always there. C, capture. R, reward. A, automate. P, plan. The law of crap. It's a great acronym. Try and remember that. And I wrote that. I'm very proud of that. Okay, who else? Dina.
I don't have anything that exciting this week. I'm sorry, but I did have another Brady Bunch moment where I got hit in the face, and everybody was screaming, "Marsha, Marsha, Marsha!"
Oh, my nose!
My nose! Oh my God!
Oh, my nose! Yeah.
But
okay.
I guess my happy moment of the week is that my nose was not broken; it was just injured, and all good. But it's I'm actually using the election to sort of reach out to people again to say, now that this is over, let's move ahead. I, like Heather, also had somebody who was waiting to do a big price drop till after the election. So this weekend I have a listing where we're going to be dropping the price as well. And I'm using it as an excuse to reach out to people to say, look, it's done. Let's move forward.
Fantastic. Just remember, real estate's any sales, it's change driven. You now have something to talk about. Go talk about them. Go mention it. And again, don't be so self-righteous that, okay, I've got plenty of people, everybody I know has a different opinion. It does not matter. Again, if you feel as though you're kind of lowering yourself to working for that, take the money that you make and give it to your favorite charity. That's your reward. That's the trade-off. That's what's going on. Just don't screw yourself up. I'm seeing realtor after realtor making that mistake. Who else? What is other wants, needs, and brags? Anyone?
Well, Edmund, since you brought it up, I am buying coffee for anybody who wants to be in Prospect Heights, Brooklyn from 2 to 3 this afternoon. I want to see you there. Buy the most expensive cup of coffee you can think of, and I will pay for it, because this is how I meet my neighbors. It's at a little patisserie called Mille Feuilles on the corner of Vanderbilt and Prospect Place in Prospect Heights in Brooklyn, the coolest place in the world. I look forward to seeing you there.
It is, and it's brilliantly simple, because you tell the person working there, I'm buying the coffee, right?
Yep.
And all the people get online at that time, and they'll do it until you say stop.
Yep.
And that person looks and says, that man's buying you the coffee.
Yep.
How much does it cost you?
Thank you, Eitan. That was my next question.
Well, it averages about $50, a little more, a little less each Wednesday. But I'm going to go see a brownstone after coffee today. That I met the woman there last week. I mean, they already have an agent, but the agent is telling them things they don't want to hear. Maybe it's right, maybe it's not, but we'll see. And it's by being a neighbor, it's by being that person, by being there, that I made it work. So yay.
So how many people do you reach with 50 euro?
Well, it's about 15 to 20 people a day, or a Wednesday. And I've noticed it's become cumulative too, because I did this in the spring, but then I took the summer off. And then when I came back, a couple people, oh, there you are. I missed you. Blah, blah, blah. And cool.
Yeah.
And as I say to people, the pandemic has made us a little socially retarded. So if I can buy your coffee to spend a few minutes with you and give you my business card, then it's money well spent, because we don't talk to each other the way we used to. I'm your neighbor.
So
I'm here for you.
Guys, just think about this. When I lived in New York City, there was a guy, he was really, really upset. He was a cab driver. I was in the cab, and he said that the last guy just totally screwed him over. They jumped out of the cab and ran away. And he then went on forever saying, you don't understand. This is me. This is my life. This is something that always happens to me. And he thought that somehow he had a black rain cloud over his head, that horrible things were going on just for him. So I said, how much were you screwed over? He said, by $10. My ride was about $8. I gave him $20. I said, there, now you're whole. Now you're whole. Here's the thing that I want you to do. I want you to take that extra $10. I want you to go and buy some newspapers. And I want you to look at the person in the back of the cab and say, good afternoon. Would you like today's newspaper? And he said, well, do they give it back to me? I'm like, you don't want them to give it back. Let them keep the darn thing. Go get more newspapers if you need to. And he said, why? I said, because if you understand what your tips are, the law of reciprocity kicks in, and then you're going to make more money. And I didn't think much about it. A year later, this is a true story, guys. I hail a cab. I get inside. Cab driver turns around and says, good morning, sir. Would you like to read one of today's newspapers? I've got the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the Daily News, the New York Post. And I said to him, I told you that. I told you that. The guy stopped the cab, put it in park, turned around and said, you have no idea what you did for me. You have no idea what you did for me. That his tips went skyrocketing. He never looked at it the same way. He used a very, very simple technique, the law of reciprocity. And I was just explaining to him, well, what if somebody takes the newspaper? He was looking at the loss. Terry could just as easily say, I'm sure people grab the coffee and run. Thanks for the coffee. Goodbye. He'll never see them again. The aggregate of the effort pays off. It is brilliantly simple. So, learn this, guys, and just take a look at it. If you're like, I believe most people have a lot of goodness in them. I really do. You'll get people on crappy days, and certainly there's plenty of evil in the world. Don't get me wrong. But, if you start to take and address life in that way, I think you're going to find that there's far more rewards than things that are holding you back. So those are my words for today. I hope you enjoyed the meeting. Again, I'm grateful that all of you were respectful to one another. Our next meeting is going to be next Wednesday. We've got a full-on, we got a lot of stuff to unpack. We got stuff going on with AI tools. We're going to be talking about 2025 and getting your business plan squared away for that, getting a strategy and structure in place. And there's another coach that's famous for saying what worked last year is not going to work this year. Bullshit. Cold calls work. Mailers work. Social media works. Terry buying coffee for people works. These are things that actually work. You need to just be able to refocus and replan and be able to make it work more and more. The real winners in here are ones that address this and take this very, very seriously, and they're able to actually consistently go out, build new relationships, capture them, continue building upon those relationships, and continue nurturing the relationships that they've had. One homework assignment I want to give all of you: stop and think through somebody, either a person or a category of person, that has given you more than one lead. I don't care if it closed. I don't care if it closed. Think about that person who's given you more than one lead and ask yourself the honest question: have you really been nurturing that person or that category of person? Are you really, truly doing it? And if the answer is no, don't beat yourself up. We've done enough of that in this world. Stop beating yourself up over it. Just fix the bloody problem. That's what you really need to do. If you could do that, I will feel sad. If you came back to me, he's not here today, but he used our advice. RA, who was it? He used our CMA a day advice. Greg.
Right.
It was Greg. So Greg Coggins, he used my CMA a day advice, and he sent out a CMA a day for a month. He picked up 3 listings. He picked up 3 listings. I was delighted. A lot of people are worried I'm going to charge him for it. I'm not. I was delighted. I was over the moon that the guy used the advice, and that's great. And if he could then pass that goodness on to somebody else, I love the whole notion of paying it forward. In any case, guys, this is going to go up online. Thank you so much for coming today. This is always great fun. I hope to see you next week. Oh, and Terry.
Yes.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Because I saw you walking. I thought you weren't ready. Okay, so
No, I'm ready.
Mary, you
I
haven't
just got to
seen
head to
this.
the train
Normally, you
station.
haven't seen this. This is where you need to wake up. This is really exciting because at this point in the meeting, I oftentimes say, it sure is great to see all of you. It really is great having you this meeting, and I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, for another exciting episode of
Rain Nation.
Thank you so much. That was Terry, everyone. He has to sing us
Have
out.
a great day, everybody.
Otherwise, we could never leave the meeting. Thanks so much, guys. Take care. Have a good week.